Hello, my sewing friends. This is an interview with my crochet geniuses. I'm Jen, and obviously this is not my sewing room. I have a tree growing out of my head, don't I? These are two of my sweethearts. This is Jenna, number 4, and Michaela, number 5, and they make these incredible seriously incredible crocheted blankets, like an Afghan. Some people call them Afghans. I call them Afghans. Do you call them blankets or Afghans?
I just call it a blanket.
I call them blankets. I don't know what the difference is between a blanket and an Afghan.
Yeah, I don't either, but anyway.
The world may never know.
Yeah.
Grandma calls it Afghans.
I thought it would be fun to just talk with them a little bit about how they learned to crochet and what attracted them to these intricate, complicated, amazing creations that they do. So, Jenna, when was the first time you learned to crochet? Who taught you?
I honestly can't exactly remember, but I feel like it was Grandma and or you. I think Grandma was the first person to teach me, and I think that I kind of forgot, and then I asked you how to do it again, and then you re-showed me what she had shown me, which was really nothing more than just making a chain and then going back on the chain into the back loops as single crochets. And I didn't know that that's what I was doing at the time. I thought that's just how people crochet. It's the only way. And so I could only ever really do like a chain and then go back on the chain. Didn't really understand that you have to chain a little bit to reach the right height to do another row. So I could never make something that had like edges that were neat or anything. I think I attempted to make a blanket one time and also a scarf, but it was like the yarn I was using was terrible. I didn't realize at the time, like the internet has made a huge difference for me. But yeah.
YouTube. I have a triangular piece of something, and I'm not sure if it's something somebody knit or crocheted, but I remember you asking me to teach you how, and it was one of those, you were in high school, you were interested in 1,000 things. It was like, ooh, shiny, show me how to do that. And then, okay, bye. Yeah, so, yeah.
I think I might have been even in middle school, actually.
It could have been.
I think it was middle school, because I remember specifically there was one school trip that my school took, and we were at a park. I don't remember what the field trip was, but at the park I was crocheting, and one of my classmates asked me, what's it gonna be, or who's it for? And I was like, I don't know. And I think one of my teachers at the time was pregnant, and I was like, it could be a baby blanket. And I never followed through on that.
I doubt anyone expected you to. You were in high school.
Several empty promises of baby blankets.
Yeah. So what about you? When did you learn?
I distinctly remember.
Well,
oh, sorry.
That's when.
Continue.
I'm sorry. We'll edit that out. But I learned unofficially then what it is to take a yarn and make something with a hook, but I didn't really learn how to do crocheting until this year in April.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know how to do any of
this.
this. Yeah, I didn't know how to do anything except for a chain and go back on the loops in the chain until this year because of Michaela. Now she can tell you.
Because you taught her.
Sort of. I mean, she had a lot of the foundation.
She fully inspired me in every way.
Okay, and how did you learn?
Well, I distinctly remember sitting on the couch in California with Grandma and her showing Jenna and I how to make a chain and then how to turn back on the chain and keep going. And so I could make really uneven rectangles for a long time.
Yeah, that's
This would have been about between 2000 and 2003 or so. And how old were you? You were 6, 7?
Yeah,
And
I
you
think I was
were
about 6 or 7.
7 or 8. Yeah. Okay. So very young. Very young.
I remember in elementary school when we started playing recorders, I got some yarn and I made a couple of like recorder sleeves for my friend.
Gosh, that's so cool. I never knew that.
I didn't either.
I think I was
You've been
like,
crocheting for people forever.
yeah. They were awful though. They looked terrible.
Sure.
And I could never make like a blanket because I would either give up on it or lose my crochet hook every time. I learned how to crochet
Wow.
with a pen cap, a broken pen cap.
Oh my
Are you serious?
gosh.
Yeah.
I have
sounds
a
like
very
you.
vague memory of that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Because I would lose my crochet hook all the time, so I just
Yeah,
found
this is
another
like-
hook.
Good example of genius. The common sense is not quite at genius level.
I can only imagine,
Very
like,
forgetful.
Changing the size and using a pen cap, like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Well, for a recorder sleeve, it's
As a
probably fine.
professional crocheter now, that's just hilarious to think back on.
Yeah, it was rough. But it wasn't until I was in middle school and Mom, you made a blanket while
Oh,
I was
yes.
homeschooled.
That blue blanket.
And it really inspired me. It made me want to make my own blanket someday.
Did you crochet it?
She did.
Yeah, do you remember?
I don't remember you making it.
It's the one that has you. Well, you crochet and then
I
you
have
chain
seen
and then you loop the chains up this. Yeah, you'll if you saw it, you'd recognize it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen
I think it moved to your house, didn't it?
Nope.
Oh, really?
I think
Is
you
it
have
still
it.
in my
it. It's
house?
still with you.
Huh. Okay.
Well, so anyways, then when I went to college, I decided that I was gonna start making my own blanket. So I got some yarn from Walmart, and it was like really bulky yarn. And I just started going with double crochet, just straight up double crochet. It was very basic. And I think I got like 18 skeins of yarn into it before I was like, this is awful. This is not working. This is terrible. It was massive. It was ridiculous.
Because the
So-
yarn was so thick?
Well, yeah, it was really thick yarn, and it was also, I just made it absurdly long. I was like, I want a king size blanket. So,
I do
anyways,
remember that.
yeah, I worked on it on and off for a few years, and then I saw a pair of fingerless gloves someone had made on Tumblr. I saw a picture of them, and they had made it look like scales with a crocodile stitch. A crocodile stitch. So it looked like dragon scales.
Ooh.
And I was like,
Huge Harry
I
Potter
want
fan.
those. I want those. And I can crochet. I should be able to figure this out. And so that was the first garment that I ever made off of a pattern. And that was the first time that I learned how to read a
I
pattern.
remember those.
So I was given the fundamentals, the basics by grandma, and then reminded by mom. And then I taught myself how to read patterns so I could make those gloves. And then I kind of had a whole world open to me of, wow, I can make anything that has a pattern. Like,
And I had no idea. I
Yeah.
was just living my life thinking that she could do it all and that I would just go on in my life never caring again.
yep. So then I came across Sophie's Universe, and it looked really
Deirdre
ambitious.
Designer.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's got a blog, lookatwhatimade.com.
So I was blown away by that blanket. I thought it was absolutely stunning, and I wanted one for myself.
Because it is.
So I learned how to make it. And that was around the time that Jenna came to visit, and she saw mine, and she was like, what? That's crazy. How?
You had just finished it, like right when I was coming to get my hair done. And I always get crazy colors, in case you couldn't. So that particular time, we'll have a photo, but I got it super rainbow, and it perfectly matched this blanket that Michaela had just finished making. So she
Quite
said,
a photo shoot for Instagram.
yeah, Michaela requested that I take some photos with it so that she can have some nice photos to post of this blanket. So we did that, and then when I came back inside after taking the photos, you had already, before that, you had started making another one.
Yeah, I decided about halfway through my first Sophie's Universe that I didn't like some of the color choices I'd made. So I was planning to give it to my best friend and make myself another. So I had started on the second one when you came and took the photos with the first one. And
Yeah, so when I came back in after taking the photos, she was working on her second one, going well along into it, and we were just hanging out, and she handed me a hook and some yarn, and she was like, okay, now do this, and then now do this. And she just explained to me enough to where I had the first beginning flower of Sophie's universe. And I think I left with just a little bit more than the flower, maybe just like probably about this much of it.
It's like the first 10 rounds or something.
Yeah. When I was getting my hair done, sitting there, I was trying to work on the crochet that Michaela had started me on, and I kept getting stuck because I didn't know how to read a pattern yet. And she kept trying to encourage me to learn how to read it and sending me like the links to Deidre's pages where she explains everything, like for dummies. So really easy to pick up on and grasp. And Michaela knew that I was capable of it, but I was too lazy, and I was like, can you look at it and see if it's right and tell me? And so
This is classic Jenna behavior.
After excessively FaceTiming her, and then giving up and realizing, I guess I'll just wait until I'm in person with her again, I figured when I left to go home after that trip that I would only work on it when I was with Michaela, because I thought I wasn't really capable of doing it on my own. But she taught me how to read the patterns, and she forced me to figure it out. And I also just naturally wanted to keep going because it just drew me in. And
the more it grows,
taking hold.
You see everything you grow added, and you're like, oh, it's really becoming a blanket. It's real, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the two of us, we love doing puzzles, like any and all forms of puzzles.
Like how many Christmas presents did you unwrap yesterday that were puzzles?
At
Probably
least
half.
4, at least probably 6 or 7 puzzles I got.
Yeah.
yesterday.
I got you 4.
All at least 1,000 or 1,500 pieces. Because we just love putting things together. So I really feel like crochet. If you like puzzles, you'll like crocheting because you just put every little piece together and every little stitch, and it's just, it takes the patience that it takes to do a jigsaw puzzle. So.
I really was so impressed when I first saw, I guess I first saw yours, the one that you were making for your friend, because it wasn't your standard crochet. I mean, I can do a single crochet and a double crochet, but I'm much more focused in another area of craft, which is why it never was anything except something to do when you sit down. Like, I didn't really care about it. But to see these creations and go, wow, I was just dumbstruck. I mean, it was really amazing. And I'm not surprised that you learned, because you are a really good teacher.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You really are, because you take the time to figure something out, to really learn about it, and then you're able to spout that back out. And I don't know how you do that. I mean, I can learn stuff all day long, but I can't always spit it back. But you can.
Thank you.
And so that's how you got started. Have you branched out into other designs beyond? I know you've done this one designer. You've done Sophie's Universe, and this is Charlotte's Universe.
Yeah,
Charlotte's Universe.
Just finished Charlotte's Universe, and I also did Ubuntu. And all I've done is Deidre's patterns so far. I haven't tried anything else yet, and I'm hesitant too because Deidre's so good at writing her patterns.
Her patterns are wonderful. They're really well written. They make it easy to learn.
She's got like charts, and she also has another lady. Oh my gosh, what's her name? It's all in a nutshell. Esther. She does how-to videos on her YouTube, so you can link to her. She is amazing, and she'll show you every single step, and her voice is so wonderful. Sometimes I put on her videos just to relax. I'm not even crocheting.
So is this something you do just to relax? I mean, when do you crochet?
As often as possible, honestly. Like, if I have a project going, I will pick it up kind of no matter what I'm doing. Because, I mean, obviously, we like to watch a lot of Netflix and movies and consume a lot of, like, video content. So while I'm doing that, I get to also be productive in some way. And then people are like, wow, that must have taken a lot of time. I'm like, it took a lot of movies.
When I was going to school, I would bring crochet projects with me to lectures.
Yeah, I like bringing it in the car.
Yeah, help me be able
It
to
does help you
maintain
like
focus.
listen. I would take it to church if I were to church.
I know. That's one thing about church that drives me crazy. Why can't I bring something to do with my hands? Because I would listen so much better.
We've talked many times before about you just get in the zone. Like you don't really have to know what your pattern is anymore. It's in your brain and you just start doing it and you're just doing it and then suddenly you're on to the next round. It's just so fun.
I really like to crochet as like before I go to bed. I'll put on a podcast.
I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep with my hook.
I know, yeah, me too. Well, if you're making a blanket too, you like get warmer and cozier
So
as it
cozy.
grows, and you just get. It just puts you right to sleep. It's so comfortable.
So you used to fall asleep with books on your face, and
Yeah.
now it's your crochet hook,
Yep.
your blanket. Oh, that's funny.
A little bit cozier than a book.
Yeah, no kidding. So what inspires you?
Oh,
Like color choices and
definitely color
designs.
choices. I've been very inspired by like ombre cakes of yarn and the ways that people have used them. But I'm really super inspired by the way that like I've learned through these sorts of patterns to construct things like the flowers and create what's the word I'm looking for? It's
like dimensional
yeah,
things.
it's like 3D. It has so much texture to it, and it looks like things that you've made out of yarn. You know, it just blows my mind when I was making Sophie's Universe and seeing flowers come together and being like, oh my gosh, that's a flower. I made that, and it looks like a flower. It really does. It's just yarn tied in a bunch of knots, but
there it is.
yeah.
And what about you? What inspires you?
Well, she inspires me, like, a lot. I'm also really competitive. So, with my first blanket, I did Sophie's Universe, and I did a border for it as well that was optional that you didn't put on your first one or your second one.
I like
Because you like
squared off.
squares and I wanted it to be a rectangle. And so I finished my Sophie with the border in, I don't know how, like 11 weeks or something.
She started hers after mine and still beat me.
Yeah. And then
I taught her everything.
And then I did another one. Then I did Ubuntu. And I finished that one. And I don't think you had finished Sophie yet.
still hadn't finished mine. I love crocheting. I am not fast.
I've got a lot more spare time, I think, than you do. Or I did at the time.
Yeah, that's
True to
true.
your head too. I imagine.
Probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
It's really good
I
therapy for
could
you.
not stop. I also was going through a bit of an emotional turmoil moment in my life when one of my friends kind of just left me forever and was like, no resolution for that. So it really was just like my escape from all of those dark thoughts of like, why isn't she talking to me? What did I do wrong? And I could just go into my hook and my yarn and just create and not feel shitty for a long time.
I really did the same thing with my Sophie when I was working at a bakery. I would come home from work and just kind of be frustrated with my job and everything and just throw myself into my blanket and be so happy that I was making something beautiful that made me really proud and really happy.
It kind of fed your soul.
Definitely.
It totally fed my soul, and it got me through that whole friendship like ending.
Yeah.
And I actually, for this blanket, I had bought all of this yarn for that person who
Oh, wow.
stopped talking to me. And so I had all this yarn in my collection. It's all black and white. I love colors, but I had gotten this for her because she's colorblind, and I thought that it would be great. And so I had all this yarn just sitting in my collection, kind of like staring at me, like, because I love crochet and it was my escape, but it also had this yarn sitting there that just was like gnawing away at me in a way. So then when Deidre released this summer the pattern for Charlotte's Universe, I was like, oh, I can do it! I'll make it for Grandma and Grandpa! And they love black and white movies, so it'll be perfect for them. And so, when it started, I was still like a week or two left in the mood too. So I started a little bit later than the crochet along did, but I really got into it, and then you just tried as well.
Yeah, I tried to catch up, but I was still working on a blanket for my
me.
mom and dad.
Yeah, but with Charlotte, that's when Michaela was like, okay, this time I'm gonna
catch you
I'm
for
gonna
sure
with you.
this time.
I'm gonna do a blanket with you. And sure enough, I just
Couldn't keep up.
cranked it out.
I also moved twice.
You had a lot going
Yes.
on.
Yes.
A lot of reasons to not get it done.
Yes.
So
Yes.
no worries there. But
Yes.
that's
I'll get you one of these days.
yeah, it's a big motivator for me to be competitive and just finish things before Michaela can. But I'm also very inspired by, just colors for the most part. I just love colors.
You're a
when I
big
was doing
color
Sophie, I think I changed colors every single row.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ever leave the same color twice. I just couldn't stop changing.
Yeah.
And it looked really awesome in the end.
But you've really gone beyond the stitches too, both of you have. I mean, she has a TikTok account, which I love, and I go back to often just to hear her voice.
Barely ever post, but yeah.
Yeah, but Ubuntu, you did a whole section on just blocking and, getting it all flat and the corners crisp, and that really made a difference. And she gave it to her other sister, Mia, number 3, and yesterday for Christmas. And
That one's my favorite one that I've made.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. It's a, what did you say?
A hexagon.
Is it a hexagon?
It's got 6 diamonds in the middle and then 6 triangles that fill out the diamonds to make a hexagon. And
That's
it's
beautiful.
just- yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It was so fun to make. That was my first time making pieces that I joined together.
Yeah.
And well, I did join the borders to Sophie, but I had never joined pieces together to make a whole like that, and it was super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you done that too?
I have not made the Ubuntu, but I've sewn pieces together.
And block them out and the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. It really does. It's like with sewing, it's like pressing. You know, it's such an easy thing when you're first starting out or you're not very far into sewing to think, I don't need to do that. But oh my gosh, what a difference.
Yeah. I blocked Charlotte at the beginning. I think I did Charlotte's part 1. I blocked her, but after that, I didn't have to block Charlotte really at all. But Ubuntu, I definitely blocked at least
Well, it
2
was
times.
a different shape, and this is square.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that makes a big difference. So what are you on to next?
Next I was thinking, she's not here so I can talk about it. I'm planning to make a mermaid fishtail blanket for Emma.
Ooh, she would love that.
She lives in Minnesota.
She lives in a
It's
fairyland.
freezing. She does also live in a fairyland, so I figure something nice and warm that she can cocoon up in. And then I've got a few other plans for everyone else, but that's the one I'm most excited about to start next.
But before you do that, you have to finish mine.
I gotta finish mine. Got like
She gave it
13
to me.
rows left.
Yeah, she gave it to me and I thought, oh, this is so great. And then she goes, but you know
But
what,
it's
to be
huge.
fair,
It could be finished if she wanted it to be, but
I
you're
just
too
won't. I
perfectionist.
won't quit on. It's only got 13 rows left. I just can't. I just gotta finish it. I just couldn't get it done by Christmas.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I made them outfits and none of them were done except one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So, yeah. And your next project?
Well, for that same sister, she had requested that I try to make her a top to go over like camis and stuff in the summertime. So that will be my first attempt at a garment. So I will try that. But I think before I try that, I need to, as soon as possible and as fast as possible, make a blanket for our grandmother on Dad's side.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Gotta make one.
Yes.
This I made for Grandma, Mom's mom. This is Charlotte's Universe. And I showed it to Mama when we were visiting her on Christmas Eve, and she did not want to let it go. And
She's 94.
yes, and she just sits in her little chair in her apartment. So much of the time, I just know that I can't wait until Christmas to give her whatever I'm going to make for her. So I'm just going to make it happen as soon and as fast as possible and let her
Good
make
plan.
the most of it for as much time as she's got.
Good
And,
plan.
yeah, it doesn't have to be very big because she's not very big.
Tiny.
So
She
it
is.
shouldn't take me very long, and hopefully, I mean, maybe I can have it done by her birthday, which is January 26th, I think.
9th.
29th?
29th, yeah. We have several birthdays in January.
In late January, so hopefully I can get that done for her. But if not, I will get it to her whenever I can. And that's what I'm most excited for.
She'll love it, no matter.
Just seeing her reaction for this one was so amazing. So I just felt really bad that I couldn't leave this with her. If this had been done at the time, I would have let her have it, and I would have made a whole new one for your mom, because she just really, she loved it.
She did, but you're going to make her one that's her colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will be more. Speaking of making another one, yarn. I got you yarn for Christmas.
Yeah.
And so do you have a preference on a kind of yarn, like a, not a brand, but like a, what do I want to say?
Material?
Yes, a type of, why is my brain not working? Fiber. A type of fiber?
Right. Well, I have pretty much, this and the other 2 blankets that I've made are pretty much exclusively an acrylic blend, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's acrylic.
Yeah, it's acrylic.
So I always go with Lion brand, but I discovered with Lion brand the Trubu and the Kobu skeins, which are cotton, bamboo, and just bamboo rayon combinations. And I haven't actually crocheted with them yet. So I
just got a bunch for Christmas.
Yeah, I've got a lot in my collection to choose from because it's so soft and amazing. Like, I know I'm gonna love it, whatever it turns
Well,
into.
it's slippery.
Yeah,
So because it's like rayon.
Yeah, I'll see how it goes, but I'm feeling pretty confident about it. So I don't know officially if I prefer bamboo over acrylic and cotton blends, but the way that it feels just in the sky, it's so luxurious.
And you just got a new hook because you wanted a quality hook.
Yeah, I wanted something ergonomic because the set that Michaela gave me is the little metal
basic
ones
metal
that you can get from Michael's for like a couple dollars, which is great because it's easy and works.
Yeah.
But I definitely found moments in the making of these where like this part of my pinky would hurt a lot just from the metal pushing against it, and yeah, I just feel like an ergonomic hook would make a big difference for me.
Yeah.
I also kind of want to try bamboo hooks just to see how that goes.
Yeah. Good idea. What about you? Do you have a stash of yarn?
Oh, I have
Does she
a
ever?
hoard of yarn. I've got a dragon's hoard at home. My favorite brand that I like to use is Karen Simply Soft. It's just an acrylic yarn. I just love the colors. I think they're really vibrant, and I think it is quite soft. And the pieces that come out of it are really have a nice drape to them, which I really like. But the blanket that I made
my
for
Lion
you,
brand acrylic yarn is way heavier than your cotton or your Karen Simply Soft. Because this is a combination of both. The black and white in here is Karen Simply Soft, and I think all of the Lion brand around it really weighs it down.
It is a heavy blanket. Yeah.
the blanket that I made for you and Dad is a wool blend, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, super light.
Wool blend in Florida. You know what? Wool can be very, because it's a natural fiber, it can be cool as well.
It's also, it's just like fluffy.
Yeah.
You know? It kind of is light and has a very pillowy feel to it.
Yeah.
But I've worked with cotton yarn before as well, which is fine. It's just cotton.
It's heavy.
It's heavy and it's not very soft. But I just love anything soft. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, that's true. You are all about soft.
I shop almost exclusively at Michael's and Walmart, and I did walk into a yarn store in like the downtown Charlotte area sometime over the summer, just thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll go out and find some good yarn or something. I don't know what I expected, but I was hoping to get some guidance on the garment that I want to make for that sister, and because she is very like all natural, no sustainable, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Very, she's, you know,
high
good,
maintenance.
good for that. So I wanted to find some good sustainable bamboo yarn. So I was, I came into the store looking for that, and the lady tried to help me as best she could, but she realized very soon that I didn't really realize what I needed, and she was like, maybe you should find a pattern first and then see what that recommends, and then we can go from there. So she did really help me a lot, but being in that yarn store, I was just like, ah. So I get a little overwhelmed in the actual, like, where you would go.
Yeah.
So I'm most at home in Walmart.
Well, you know. I have a friend, Michelle from Michelle Sews Again, who recently dyed some yarn because she's a knitter. And I guess, have you thought about that? No, it's just like way off in the future when you get bored with doing what you're doing.
I guess,
it's like next challenge.
Maybe someday.
If I ever really want to.
Yeah. Or making your own yarn. There's another YouTuber, Sarah from Naughty Gnome Crafts, spins her own yarn. Like, makes yarn. Like, oh, I don't know. I suppose people, are
That'd
all
be pretty cool. They would also.
yes when we make our own clothes, but I just think.
Does she have like the animal that provides it?
I don't know. I think she has a wheel, like I don't know. I don't know.
Because that would be wild if you like
I'll
had,
link her channel.
had your own like sheep or whatever and like actually sheared it yourself and made your own yarn. That would be crazy.
I don't know that she
Maybe
does.
someday.
But I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a sheep.
Good one in alpaca.
Yeah. Oh
Alpaca
yes.
is really
Yes. And those are the funniest looking animals.
I learned through my research of all the fibers that like the one that's the most expensive is the most expensive because of how hard it is to get off of the animal. And, like it only grows like in one part of them, and it's like only a certain time of the year. And
Is it like a
the
type of
yield-
ox?
I think so.
Yeah.
The yield is just like really not very
An
much.
ox?
For how much
I think
it
so.
is.
You can make yarn from ox
I think what I'm thinking
fur or
of is
hair
silk.
or whatever.
Is it?
Oh,
not
yes,
sure,
silk. Oh, that would be amazing.
But, yeah.
Yes.
I've never used silk yarn, and I don't think I ever will because I read that bamboo feels pretty similar and it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like fabric. Silk is, very high quality and it's beautiful, but it's not very accessible to, your general person that just wants to run down to Joann's and buy fabric. So, yes, here I am talking about fabric. We're really talking about yarn and crocheting. But anyway, okay, well, I just love them. So I'll be interested to see what you guys come up with next. Should be fun.
I'll send you all the photos.
Yes, yes. And I will link photos and TikToks and Instagram accounts and all of the things in the description box below. And I'll try in the cards and link some of the videos you've talked about. So anyway, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. How much I love you.
Yes. Yeah. If you'd like to see the interview that I did with Everybody But Her earlier this year, then...
Because I don't live in Florida. And
yeah. Oh, well, that's debatable. Anyway, just check right over here, over that way. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.